Hello and welcome to another episode of the Tipped Balls Podcast. I am your host, Sam Randazzo, and I am joined today by my two cankle-having co-hosts. To my right, it is the one and only Uncle Sam.
Hello.
And behind the computer making us sound semi-decent, it is Bruce, the Tugboat Venditti.
What's up?
Anyways.
How old is he again? Are you old enough to drink? I'm not going to get a ticket, am I?
22.
For contributing to a minor?
He has a 13-year-old brains and a 22-year-old body, but that's fine.
And a 3-year-old pecker. Anyway.
Oh, well, the day has finally come. The draft is behind us. The majority of free agency is behind us. And it's time for our second edition of the Tipped Power Rankings. Pretty much, I'm not going to sit here and take time to go over the first round of them because everything has changed. I'm not going to lie. I went back and looked through my first round of power rankings, and you can pretty much scrap all that, throw it out. Because for me, free agency dramatically changed a lot of team spots. The draft dramatically changed a lot of team spots. And as I go through the power rankings, I'm going to give you, I did a grade for each team.
Okay.
It's not necessarily a draft grade.
Okay.
It's an off-season grade.
Right. It's a combination of free agency and the draft.
Right. I took into account free agent signings, free agent departures,
Okay.
the draft, if there was a coaching change. I took into account everything
Okay.
when I gave them this off-season grade. So it's not necessarily a draft grade, but it's an off-season grade. I also dissected the entire NFL schedule, and I'm going to give you what record I think the teams will finish with. Now, for me, my power rankings go in order of record, okay? Obviously, if you're winning more games, I think for the most part you're a better team. There are some exceptions to that rule.
Makes sense.
Right.
It makes sense.
There are some exceptions to that rule, but I'm going to give you the prediction, I'm going to give you the record, I'm going to give you the grade, and we're going to dissect a couple of the moves that each team made that got them to the spot that it got them on my list.
All right. Well, where do we start? 32.
We're going to
Let's
start with
at the bottom and work our way up.
We're going to start at 32 and make our way up to 1. I agree. So at 32, I gave this team a my off-season grade for this team was an F.
Wow. Okay.
And out of this list, I only have 2 Fs.
Okay.
But I gave this team an F. I have them finishing the year 2-15. The scumbag-led Seattle Seahawks coming in at 32.
I am not we have family members that are Seahawk faithfuls.
Absolutely.
And I don't think they're going to be happy with what they're going to see. Obviously, they weren't happy last year. They're going to be more disappointed this year, I believe.
Okay, the thing is, I love some of those Seattle teams, the Legion of Boom teams, all the above. They are so far removed from that.
Yeah. They've been systematically dismantling that team and not able to reload.
Well, yeah.
And that's why they're in the position they're in.
They lost Russell Wilson. God knows who's going to be the quarterback.
Well, right now they said Geno Smith has the edge on Drew Lock. So if Geno Smith is beating out Drew Lock,
if Geno Smith's
it's going to be a shitty season.
If Geno Smith is your QB1, you're not going to win more than 3 games. So I'm going to give them 2 wins. Obviously, they lost Russell Wilson, didn't replace him.
They drafted okay. They did okay.
They did okay in the draft. But whatever they did in the draft didn't counteract Russell Wilson leaving. Also, their offense relies on Chris Carson, who can't stay on the field for a full season.
Well, they drafted Kenneth Walker.
I understand that.
That's going to be a huge help.
Here's the other thing, because I took the Kenneth Walker pick into consideration, and I almost moved them up from an F to a D. But Seattle is notoriously bad at turning good young college running backs into
I give you that.
Elite
Shad Penny.
NFL running backs.
The list is long.
Right. So for those reasons, I'm going to give them an F. And also, obviously, we're not a huge fan of their coach. I think it's time for a change. I think Pete Carroll's time there is done. He's dated. And their only real highlight is DK Metcalf, who doesn't want to be there anymore.
That's a really bad situation.
Yes. So
Yeah.
for me, I don't think there's a worse situation than Seattle.
Especially if they start out slow and they drop 3 or 4 in a row.
Oh, and I think they will.
He should be gone.
It's going to be a rough start.
The scumbag should be gone.
And you know what? This might be the year.
I hope so.
This might be the year.
There's 2 guys I want to see gone.
We'll see.
Go ahead.
What?
Pete Carroll.
Yeah, but guess what? Everybody wears out their welcome eventually.
That is true.
I think.
True.
You know what?
You also
Belichick's
think
went out
Bill
his welcome
Belichick
in
should
New
be
England?
gone,
We'll
too.
get to that later on. But you want to know what I think Pete Carroll's biggest blessing is? Is that the ownership there, after Paul Allen died, is not really familiar with what's really going on. They just own the team. You know what I mean?
Right. They're not football people.
I think if the ownership was different, he'd already be gone. Personally.
Oh yeah.
They fell into the Lions category of ownership.
Well, no, I just
let me ask you a question.
Shoot.
If you had a chance to take Pete Carroll over what we have here right now, would you do it?
No.
Absolutely not.
No.
Okay. Just asking.
The reason why it's not. I'm not even bringing the scumbag factor into the equation. I think the Pete Carroll and, like you said, Bill Belichick and that whole way of thinking for the NFL is on its way out. I don't want to start a debate right now. We'll get into it later. But
no, I think you're right too. I think Mike McCarthy's on that list also.
Agree.
Yeah.
That older regime of coach is quickly going to the wayside.
They need to go away.
Next up, I gave them an off-season grade of C-. They didn't address a lot of their issues. They played it kind of safe, and they let some really important pieces go. I had them quite a bit higher in my last power ranking. I have them finishing 3-13, and that's Carolina Panthers.
That's really interesting. That's really interesting to me.
So, I dissected the schedule.
I think you're wrong with this one, but
okay.
Go ahead.
And if you look at Carolina's schedule, it's not friendly. And it's not friendly towards the back end. So
that's where these guys lose their job.
Right. That's where Christian McCaffrey's hurt by. That's where Sam Darnold, everybody wants him gone by. And then their schedule ramps up right at the end. And I just think it's going to be a complete and total disaster for them this year. For me, a couple weeks ago, that was Atlanta. And I think
I had thought that too, but the more I look at Atlanta and what they've done,
the better I feel about them.
The better I think they are.
Carolina does not have a team-friendly schedule. Nobody has any faith in Sam Darnold.
And you've seen what the 2 teams you just talked about. You realize that they're in the same division.
Seattle and Carolina? Or Atlanta and Carolina?
Atlanta and
Carolina.
Carolina.
Yes. And so I gave the edge. We'll talk about Atlanta, but I gave the edge slightly to them because of their off-season grade. What did Carolina...
what they have to go through, too. The gauntlet they're going to have to go through to try to beat Tampa.
Correct.
And none of them are going to beat Tampa.
Right.
Joke.
So I think between Carolina losing a lot of key guys, not addressing the Sam Darnold...
Hassan Riddick loss for them is
that
huge.
For me was the biggest reason.
Huge.
That took them down for me a whole grade point in their off-season grade because he was one of the best young defensive guys in the league, and I get it.
They let him walk.
They let him walk. And I didn't understand that personally.
What do you have, 13 sacks last year? 14 sacks. They let him walk.
And the biggest thing is, and I'm a firm believer in this, when you have a quarterback leading a team and nobody really has any faith in him, and you don't really have an exit strategy, and he's not really happy in that situation, that's a recipe for disaster.
That's Minnesota Vikings with Kirk Cousins.
Correct.
Yeah.
The thing is, Minnesota has enough talent around them to where even though Kirk Cousins hasn't done anything sexy in 10 years, they're still decent.
Correct.
Sam Darnold isn't the case. You have Christian McCaffrey aging.
No. He's struggled in New York.
Yeah.
They sent him packing.
Mm-hmm.
And he did good the first 7 games of the year last year, and that was it. Right. He got hurt. He tried to come back. He just wasn't the same guy.
And I'll be honest with you. we talked a lot about Derrick Henry, Christian McCaffrey, all of them. The more and more I dissect the Christian McCaffrey thing, the less and less faith I have in him. He can't hold up like this.
He's a cap casualty come next year.
I mean, in all reality, it could be.
I'm surprised he wasn't one this year.
I would love to see him stay healthy all year and play up to the potential we know he has.
Right.
I just don't think it's going to happen.
And he's top 3.
Absolutely.
If he's healthy, he's top 3.
No
There's
question
no stopping him.
But they don't have any other offensive weapons to make up for that if he's not there. Either way, with their schedule, I only have them winning 3 games. Next, and this one's probably going to surprise a lot of you. I'm sure everybody's heard a lot about what's going on with Dan Snyder right now.
Yes.
And how the NFL owners are literally sitting there.
They're looking to get him
trying to get to the 24th vote to get him ousted. That's never good. When you have an organization with so much turmoil in it that the rest of the owners are trying everything they can.
All the information that's been coming out.
Yeah.
It looks really bad for him.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to say this. The John Gruden ordeal that happened last year is stenting from this stuff that's happening now with Schneider.
When you have that much negativity and that much noise swirling around your organization, it never ends well.
Right. And now, depending on what the other owners are going to do about it,
he'll be gone.
It's possible he will be gone. Yes.
NFL ownership is the most elite fraternity in the entire world.
Yeah, and they're also
they want you gone.
You're
going to be gone.
If they're going to go with this, politically correct agenda, because that's what they're doing, I'm sure he'll be gone.
He'll be gone. Off-season grade, I gave Washington a C+.
Okay.
I don't like their quarterback situation.
So you think they're only going to win how many games?
I have them finishing 4-13.
4-13.
Too much noise. I don't have any faith in Carson Wentz, period. I know there's a lot of people out there that like him. He's shown glimmers that he could be an elite NFL quarterback.
He just can't stand.
At the end of the day, I don't like him, period.
Borderline
good quarterback when healthy.
Good when healthy.
Can't stay healthy.
But even still, think about mentally how much of a toll all of this has taken on him.
Look at all the weapons he had last year.
Okay,
and they could not do anything.
And now
a better team and couldn't go forward.
Correct. And now there's a whole lot of noise swirling around whether or not Terry McLaurin's going to stay. And I mean, if something like that happens, you're done. Draft-wise, I think they did just okay. They didn't do anything groundbreaking.
No.
And I just think they're going to take a step back from last year. I have them finishing.
They weren't in a position to do anything groundbreaking because they gave up so much the year before.
Right.
They haven't, ever since the name change, it's been nowhere but fucking down.
I agree with that. I hate the fucking name. I hate the name, the Washington Commanders. They're the Washington Redskins. Yeah. Get over it. Stop being a bunch of goddamn whiny crybabies.
I wasn't going there with it. They could have just.
I'm going there, goddammit.
Better name.
The Redskins. I would have put war paint all over my face. It would have been awesome.
I'm good.
What the fuck does that mean? Am I good? Huh?
Next up at 29.
Christ.
In my first edition, this was my 32nd team. But I gave them an A- in their offseason grade. I liked a lot of the things they did. This team for me right now is cute. And that's the Atlanta Falcons. They're cute right now. I have them finishing 4-13 as well.
Okay.
But I think they're slightly better than Washington. They're in a slightly better situation than Washington. Honestly,
I actually think Washington has more talent on their team.
Agree.
Than Atlanta. But I love what they did in the draft.
I do too.
I
love Marcus Mariota
wait,
into this offense.
Hold on.
I do too.
What?
I do too.
Why?
Why not?
Because I said I liked him like when this happened, when he got traded there.
No, but the more I'm looking at it,
the more
more if they're going to bring in the type of offense that they did last year, he fits right into that. He fits into
Okay.
what they're doing.
You want to know the worst part about this is? I wanted to give him more. I looked at it and I was like, fuck.
You know what? I would give him more if they could have done something. They need to protect him.
Yes, they need to
Because
strengthen their
if
offense.
they're going to do what they did last year with Matt Ryan, he's going to get absolutely ass hammered, just like
shit,
Matt
he's
Ryan
better than
did.
every other quarterback that's on Seattle, Carolina.
Yes,
Washington.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Okay,
Shit.
this is the whole thing. I look at it and I'm like, oh, wow, if Cordero Patterson has 2 or 3 of those insane games, maybe they win 6. But then
Yeah.
I come back down to earth. There's too many holes still.
Yeah.
But what they're doing, I like it. It's kind of cute, and I enjoy it.
They're slowly digging up from the grave.
Yes, and
They need to improve their defense. Was
atrocious.
they're right there with the Lions.
But you want to know what? They're doing it the right way.
I agree. They're rebuilding the right way.
Yep.
Listen, they started over. They moved on from Matt Ryan. That's rebuild. When you move on from a quarterback, it's rebuild time. And that's what Seattle's doing.
Yep.
That's what they're
They
doing.
have a lot more that they got to move on from first.
Well,
Okay.
I mean, I'd rather have Marcus Mariota than what they got there in Seattle.
These next 4 teams for me were the hardest to do. Just because 2 of them, I love what they did in the draft. 1 of them didn't do anything in the draft, and I have no idea how the other one's going to turn out.
Okay.
So I put them in this order, and out of everything, these 4 are the most I'm
Okay,
unsure of.
where are we at? What number are we
At 28, I give them an A in the offseason ranking. I have them finishing 5 and 12, and that's the Houston Texans.
Okay.
Let's start out by saying this. They had 2 of the top picks in the draft, and I think they did very, 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 very well with them. Okay? Would I have liked to have seen them address the quarterback situation and bring in something other than Davis Mills? Yes. Would I take Davis Mills over Geno Smith?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So I don't think they're complete bottom of the barrel.
I don't
Honestly, would I take Davis Mills over Sam Darnold? Probably.
Listen, they really improved their team just by the draft.
They did. That's why
Yeah.
I'm giving them an A for the
Yeah.
draft. The only reason I didn't give them an A+ is because I would have liked to have seen them do something a
Free
little
agency,
sexy.
you can't.
I
They're
know.
in no position to do it.
But okay, why not? Right? OBJ still not signed. Jarvis Landry signed for pennies on the dollar.
True.
Go out and grab something. You know what I mean?
There's
I
still
just
a lot
wanted-
of guys out there, period,
right.
in free agency. You'll start seeing these guys sign with teams after camp starts.
I wanted
And
them
once
to-
that starts, you'll see it open up.
a little seasoning on the salad, a little
Yeah.
something cute, or address the
You don't know.
quarterback
I
issue.
mean, Bill
a little
Belichick
bit.
probably already signed 5 receivers in the offseason. here.
Probably.
By
But
camp
for
to all
me,
be released.
Houston's at 28. Next up, I'll be honest with you. This team, this one was probably one of the hardest ones for me to rank because there's just, it's been really, really, really quiet for them. And at 27, I have Chicago. I gave an off-season rating of a C.
The Bears.
Because what did they do? Nothing. Who'd they like? Nothing. They were just kind of irrelevant. I have them finishing 5 and 12 as well, the same as Houston. And
Chicago's in trouble. Listen, they gave up a lot in that Mitch Trubisky bullshit a couple years ago.
correct.
They gave up a lot of draft capital, and that's coming back to bite them in the ass right now.
That they just,
The Bears.
what do they have?
I mean, they got a good young quarterback. The
The
jury's still out on him. I get it.
Jury's still out.
I get
I'm
it.
not ready to say Justin Fields is a good young quarterback yet. I want to see, realistically, could Chicago go out and win 7 games? Yeah. And then would I have faith in them going forward and faith in Justin Fields and everything they're doing look a little bit prettier? Yes.
He got banged up at the end of the year.
That's
bad,
true.
And hopefully he can come back from that.
Would you be shocked if Chicago only won 3 games?
No.
Exactly.
No, I wouldn't.
So that I gave them 5,
Okay.
and
I hope they
even
win
that,
0.
what?
I hope they win 0.
Even that for me was, I couldn't tell if that was a stretch or that was too low. So for me, I don't know that much about Chicago right
By
now.
the way, to Chicago Bears and everything, their backup quarterback left their team and signed with, who was it, the Colts?
Yep.
Who?
Huh?
Who's their backup quarterback?
He has a Super Bowl win against the New
Nick
England
Foles.
Patriots.
Right. Anyways, and they're also getting a new
Against
stadium.
Tom Brady.
They're leaving Soldier Field.
I'm sorry?
They're leaving Soldier Field. They're getting a new stadium in the suburbs.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
But
Where's it going to be? Is it still
Like
downtown or no?
2024. No, it's out in the suburbs somewhere.
Oh, they're fucking that up. They should have left it alone. That's so stupid, dude.
That's one
Well,
place
listen,
I
if
do
you got
really
a
wanna
stadium
go to.
downtown, you make it work. Whether you renovate it or whatever, you renovate that, you make it work. That Soldier Field is a
Legendary.
it's come on, dude. It's
Legendary.
iconic.
Yeah.
It's right off the water. It's fucking beautiful, dude. That place is beautiful. I get it. It's
Apparently it's falling
outdated.
apart, though. Yeah,
I'm sorry?
It's completely falling apart, is what I've heard.
It's outdated. It's out. It needs work.
Yeah, but look at Green Bay.
Well,
What?
You're still sitting in benches over there, dude.
At Lambeau.
At Lambeau.
Anyways, staying on topic
Bart
here.
Starr is still there. So is Vince Lombardi. They sit right on them benches next to you.
The ghost of.
It's a selling point.
Next up, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers at 26. I have them finishing 5-12 as well, and I gave their off-season rating a B-. Okay. This is another team that I
Well,
personally
they signed Kenny Pickett.
They got Kenny Pickett. So, realistically, their quarterback situation should be taken
Good.
care of.
Should be decent.
Should be good. Now, as we know, I personally think Kenny Pickett's going to take half a year to get into the swing of things. A full year. That's why this year for me is kind of a write-off for the
Mitch
Steelers.
Trubisky is pretty durable. He's a big dude,
Right.
and he's durable. Hopefully, he doesn't stink up the place because the fans in Pittsburgh won't put up with that.
Well, here's the thing.
and I feel, you know why I feel sorry for him? Mike Tomlin. I really do.
Why?
I just do. I just do. I mean, he's had it good for the past how many years that he's been there? He's had it good. You know? Had Roethlisberger. Come on, dude. Didn't have to worry about the quarterback position till last year when he got hurt. Then they were a shit show. You know. Hopefully, they can turn it around.
I'm out. That's someone knocking. That's an aggressive fucking knock.
Okay, here we go. So yeah, I don't really see Pittsburgh doing anything huge this year. It's going to take time for Kenny Pickett to get acclimated. If Trubisky plays half the year and then they throw Pickett in there, we know how that goes. He's not going to come out and win games immediately, and that's fine. But I think the future's bright for Pittsburgh. But this year is definitely not their year.
Oh, I agree.
At 25, I gave them an A for their off season. I have them finishing 5-12 as well. The New York Football Giants. Okay. Here's my philosophy on this. They didn't pick up the fifth-year option on Daniel Jones. So most likely they're going to go in a different direction next year. Now, if you're Daniel Jones,
Like you said, like you said though, they got a whole year and a half to sign him. So
right, that is true. But if you're Daniel Jones, you're not too happy about that.
no, I wouldn't be too happy about it either. That they're giving up on me.
Right.
Yeah.
That could go in one or two directions. That could either make him play his ass off or give him the big fuck you.
Well, I think he's going to play hard regardless, just because this is an audition for another team. If they choose to go into a different direction, some other team is going to look at
I'll
him.
tell you what, he puts up great fantasy points every year. So
Well,
Daniel Jones is not a bad quarterback.
not.
dude.
Not at all.
He went to a bad situation where they have basically the offensive line was bad.
putrid. Well, here's the thing. I like what the
Got a
Giants.
couple superstars that can't stay healthy.
I like what the Giants did in the draft.
Oh, I love it.
Love it.
Loved what they
They
did.
get an A for that.
don't even get me started.
What I don't like,
Evan Neal.
Kayvon Thibodeau.
Oh my God.
What I don't like is you have no idea what Kenny Galladay is.
Yeah.
For some reason,
Injury
their
prone.
best young receiver was Kadarius Toney, and they tried to move him.
No takers.
No takers.
That was pretty.
That's a red flag. And their biggest offensive weapon is Saquon Barkley, who literally cannot
Cannot.
stay on
He can't
the field.
play more than 4 games a year.
Right.
Which is so sad.
It is sad because, I mean, talk about
He has all the talent in the
Yeah,
world.
I
he's
know.
an animal, dude.
So for that reason, I don't think the Giants are going to do anything big. They do play in what I believe is a more lackluster division. So maybe they sneak out an extra win.
I doubt it. I think
I
there
doubt
was
it.
other teams in there that got better than they did. Well, it wasn't Washington, but
At 24, I have the New Orleans Saints. And I have them finishing 5-12. Now,
they really, you know what? After all the turmoil they've been through,
they kind of brought it together a little bit.
they brought it together toward the end here.
Yeah.
They're still going to have a big.
They're not
They
going to be
need
good.
quarterback.
They're not going to be good.
Let's
obviously, we
all
saw
be
this
honest
coming.
about it.
As time
The defense
goes
is still intact.
closer
and that's
into
the key.
season, all these teams that we thought were kind of a dumpster fire, obviously, are kind of turning things
Yeah.
around, like the Saints.
It's going to take time for their defense to gel because they brought in such new faces, Tyrann Mathieu
Yeah.
and a couple
Jarvis
other
Land.
guys.
They got Jarvis Land. They
Yeah.
did. They made the moves that I'd like to see a team make. That's why I gave them an A.
Especially a team that's rebuilding.
Correct. They got good. They're very team-friendly contracts for their free agents. They learned
They
their
got
lesson.
rid of that awful salary cap
Right.
monstrosity that they were $45 million in the hole.
Right. And they're going to roll with Jameis Winston this
Yeah.
year. I don't have an issue with that.
I don't either.
Are they going to do any? Are they going to be spectacular? No. But
They could surprise some teams.
they're good. You know, you want to know
It's the
something?
Saints.
I was looking at the schedule.
Yeah.
And realistically, watch them beat Tampa once. That'll be
I
that.
don't think so.
That'll be that one drop 'em game for them. Like,
Listen to me.
They're-
Listen to
they're-
me. Tom Brady is not going to lose to Jameis Winston.
listen, they're
Period.
sneaky dangerous.
They're not going to lose to Jameis Winston.
He did last year.
I'm sorry?
He did last year.
It's not going to happen again.
Either way, they're kind of sneaky. They'll lose games that they should win, and I think they might win a game or two that they should lose.
They're going to win 14
If
games.
there's anybody that Tom Brady's going to for sure beat this year, it's the LA Rams.
Okay, why are we
Okay.
so fucking far off topic?
I'm just saying.
Yes, let's go
I
back
was
where
just
we were.
reiterating what he said, and
New Orleans, I could see him going 5-12.
Okay.
Again, I like what they did. I like what they did, but you have to remember the vacuum that Drew Brees leaving caused, and then you had offseason bullshit with Alvin Kamara. You don't know if Michael Thomas is healthy. You don't have that much draft
What's going
capital.
on with Kamara, too? Did anybody
haven't
hear
really
anything
heard-
on
No,
it?
I guess it all went away. And
They brushed it
Of
under the rug. That's
Yeah,
nice.
probably.
That's the NFL at its finest.
at 23, I have, and I gave them an A+ for their offseason. Finishing 6-11, I have the Detroit Lions.
I agree. I agree with that.
I like what they did in the offseason. I think they're building for the future, which I love. They're not trying to be something they're not. They're not trying to go out there and say, you know what, we're going to go out, we're going to win the division this year.
They played it safe.
the fans
Played it safe. Their first pick overall, Aiden Hutchinson. They played it safe with him. He's going to be, like I said, Kyle Vanden Bosch. He'll be here for 10 years, and he'll put up decent numbers. They're not amazing numbers. He'll put up decent numbers, and hopefully it'll work out for
You
him.
want to know something? I thought about this,
Okay.
and I don't disagree with you.
Okay.
But I like the idea that the Lions went out now, because I hated the pick originally. But now I was thinking about it. I like the idea that they went out. They drafted a guy. So he's a hometown guy. He's got a lot of pride. He has a good lineage. They're going to put a Captain C on his uniform, and they're going to let him play here for, like you said, the next 10, 12 years. And he is going to be, he's going to grow into the leader of this team, and he's somebody that you can build around. Do
Correct.
I think he's going to put up the numbers that Thibodeau or Tavon Walker are going to? No.
No,
Do I think he is going to be the strongest anchor out of all of them? Yes. He is somebody you build a team around. He's a guy that's going to be your captain. He's going to be the face of the franchise for the next 10 years. And the Lions need that.
Yeah.
And now you go out and you start to, within the next year or two, get your complementary pieces around him that will take off.
And this is Jared Goff's true dress rehearsal.
Absolutely.
This is Jared Goff. Last year was an anomaly.
Right now, I think that's their biggest hole.
Excuse me?
I think that's the Lions' biggest hole.
I don't think Jared Goff is a big
Whether
hole.
or not.
I really do not.
I don't
Listen,
know. I mean, we'll
he's
see.
here 2 more years.
We'll see.
He's here this year and next year.
We'll see.
Well,
He's here this year and next year.
I got news
Waiting
for you.
game.
If they don't win at least 6 games this year, he's gone. They will take the cap casualty, cut him. They'll take the dead money.
The dead money is $15 million instead of $30 million like it was this year.
Correct.
That's why you don't see Deshaun Watson here.
And I'm good with it. If you are Jared Goff, go out and win the 6 games this year, carry it in.
And I will say this: I do talk a lot of shit about Jared Goff. That's only because I want him to prove me wrong.
Well, this is the whole thing. If you think about it, okay? Yes, everybody talks a lot of shit about Jared Goff, but out of every team below Detroit here, so Seattle, Carolina, Washington,
look at all
Atlanta,
those teams. Do you think they would be happy to have Jared Goff on their
the
team?
only team where the 2 teams I might consider trading quarterbacks with is Justin Fields and Kenny Pickett because they're so young. I wouldn't want Jameis Winston here instead. I wouldn't want Davis Mills here. I wouldn't want Mariota here. I wouldn't want Carson Wentz here. I wouldn't want Darnold here, and I wouldn't want Geno Smith and Jacob Eason here. Okay? So
Give me Gardner Minshew.
What about Locke? Drew Locke?
I'd rather have I'm gonna still it's hard for me, but I'll stick with Goff.
I would
At 22, staying exactly where I had them last time, I have the Jacksonville Jaguars.
I think so too.
I gave them an A++ for their offseason grade.
I'm gonna say this about their draft. I don't think you draft. Not to say Trayvon Walker's not a good guy, but he's not going to. I don't see elite when I see him play.
I do.
I do, but I don't.
I see elite. I see that entire defensive line being
completely changed
elite.
up.
I love the defensive line. I love the wide receiving core. Jesus Christ, their wide receiver depth chart's got to take up half their team. They're so deep at wide receiver. They have a rookie, essentially a rookie young running back who, for all intents and purposes in college, played better.
You got 2 good running backs there.
You have 2 good running backs. You have Trevor Lawrence. You worked on your offensive line. You completely bolstered your defensive line. If you looked at that roster on paper and it had anything else at the top besides the Jacksonville Jaguars, you'd say they're an 8-9 win team. Easy.
Yeah.
But because it's Jacksonville, and because you don't know how their coaching is going to be, and because you don't know if they're actually dysfunctional
that's the whole thing. Is can they put it together?
Right.
Can they put it together?
Are we going to ignore that he just threw the Uno reverse card on Trayvon Walker?
Well, 1,000%.
What?
In every mock draft, Trayvon Walker's the most explosive player in this draft.
No, I said he's the most versatile player in the draft.
And explosive.
Just because he could play 2 positions.
You were bolstering him.
Listen to me, dude. Listen to me. I'm a Thibodeau guy. If I was them, I would have went Thibodeau all the way.
Well, either way, I give their draft an A+. Sorry.
Okay.
I give their offseason an A+. Because they went out and they're giving guys a shot.
Right.
They went out and grabbed up a bunch of receivers.
And every time they lost a guy, they replaced one.
Yes. Yep.
That's the key. They lost, who's the linebacker they lost?
Miles Jack.
They lost Miles Jack. They signed Reeves Maben from Detroit.
They lost DJ Chark. They went out and they signed Christian Kirk, didn't they?
Correct.
They did things they needed to do, and they look good. Did they spend their money super wisely? No. But that's okay. Go out and win, and it doesn't fucking matter.
The money part will fix itself.
Correct.
Why'd you have to say his name?
Huh?
Why'd you have to say Jalen Reeves?
Jalen Reeves Maben was a fucking dish towel here.
No, he wasn't.
You wipe the ground with him and you throw
Guess
him
what?
away.
He was the
our
best player on
defense.
that defense last year.
He
Come
was
on,
our
dude.
defense last year.
He was the best player, and he was making all the plays.
Exactly.
Listen, when
Flying
you're next
towards
to
the
high
ball.
school Anzalone, You'll make all the plays.
He had great
What?
hands for the
What?
ball.
What are you waving
oh
me
my
off
God.
for? What? Am I wrong?
Watch Jacksonville cut him by week 6. Anyways,
Okay.
so I have them finishing 7-10. At 21, I have the most boring team in the world, the Minnesota Vikings. I gave them a C for their offseason grade. And I have them finishing 7-10. Because what did Minnesota do in the offseason? Nothing.
Dog poop.
Yeah, they didn't address a lot of the stuff that they needed to do. And I was kind of surprised by that.
So was I.
Going into a new coaching regime, let's see what the next regime does.
What did they do at quarterback?
Well,
They
they still
kept
have
the
Kirk
most
Cousins. Kirk
average-
Cousins is still very serviceable.
Stop. He's average. There's no
Serviceable.
more average player in the NFL than Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins, vanilla ice cream.
He's
Kirk Cousins is Wonder Bread.
He's better than Jameis Winston.
Okay, but
He's better than Marcus Mariota. He's better than
I
all
don't
them other
disagree with
guys.
him at all.
Listen, he can put up the numbers. Cousins could put up
makes
the
it work.
numbers.
when?
The problem is they need to push it past the regular season. And that's something they've been unable to do.
It's like, listen to me. The Minnesota Vikings and Kirk Cousins are like the color beige. You're out of options, so you just throw it up. You have no imagination, so you just do it. There's nothing
We'll see what
appealing
happens.
about them.
We'll see what happens. I mean,
Because you like that sexy.
they got one of the best
Sexiness.
young receivers in the game.
But Yes, I like sexy because sexy wins.
They signed
Yeah.
they signed the best safety in the draft.
Mm-hmm. So if you don't like sexy, if the Lions would have drafted Charles Cross at 4 and addressed their needs and got rid of Taylor Decker, would you have been happy?
Probably.
No, you wouldn't have. You would have thrown a fucking
No, you
fit.
would have been crying like a little baby. You were crying like a little baby when they picked Aiden Hutchinson.
Yeah.
You were crying.
I was very.
You were-
very
don't you remember the
excited.
meltdown? We got it on
I
tape. We can
Really
show
wanted
everybody.
Thibodeau. That's the only problem. I was upset because I wanted to.
So I don't think-
I'm not upset anymore.
At the end of the day,
like Aiden Hutchinson.
Minnesota will win 7 or 8 games.
Listen to me.
Period.
I'm still pissed off that they moved up and didn't grab Jordan Davis. Still angry about
Anyway,
it.
they got the best wide receiver
Anyway,
in the draft.
sorry.
So anyway,
Go ahead.
At 20, I have the Indianapolis Colts.
Really?
I have them finishing 8 and 9, and I gave them a B- for their offseason grade.
I don't agree with that. I think they'll be better than that.
Why? No, okay.
I think they'll be better than 8 and 9.
Bruce, do me a favor.
They're at least
Pull up the
500.
Colts schedule. Their schedule doesn't do them any favors. That's number one.
Okay.
Number two, I'm sorry. All of you guys keep saying, oh, Matt Ryan still can play. Matt Ryan's still good. No, the fuck he's not, dude. No, he's not. Matt Ryan,
All right,
Is-
what's week 1?
anyways,
September 11th, at Texans, at Jacksonville. Then
Well,
Kansas City
should,
comes.
Honestly, they should win them first 2 games easily.
I don't think they're going to beat Jacksonville.
I do.
Then Kansas City comes to town. Then
They'll lose
Tennessee
that
comes
game.
to town. Then they
They'll
go
lose
to
that
Denver. Then they got Jacksonville
Hold
again.
on. I don't.
his brain doesn't move
Tennessee,
on the
the
wavelength
Washington,
that yours
there's a
does,
win.
So you got to give him a
They'll
second.
lose to Patriots at Patriots. They'll lose to the Raiders. They'll lose to the Eagles. The Eagles will go in there and stomp them. They'll beat Pittsburgh. Where am I at right now? What do I got?
You just read the last.
Roll it back up.
You should-
Roll it back up.
Right here, you're at the Cowboys.
I had them winning the first 2. Scroll back up.
A B- for their offseason grade because
They
We
weren't
just
really
took all
able
that
to do
time for
anything.
him to figure out that he agrees with you. That's all. I'm just.
Huh?
what'd you say?
I said they weren't really able to do anything in the draft.
No, I mean,
Free agency.
at the end of the day, Jonathan Taylor, Michael Pittman, those young guns,
I mean, they went out and
Darius
got
Leonard.
the quarterback they needed.
they didn't. They didn't.
I don't know.
Why
how
do
you
we
don't
keep
like
saying Matt Ryan is the answer?
I'm not
Matt
saying
Ryan
he's
is the answer
but
for a
they got,
year.
They got a more experienced guy
That's the spot.
Do you want to know what else I
than
don't like?
Carson Wentz.
Do you want to know what else I don't like? I don't like the Colts' judge of players I don't like their scouting department. You go out and you sign Phillip Rivers. He's here for a year and fucking dips. Then, oh my God, we got to sell the house to get Carson Wentz. And you fucking get rid of him after 1 year.
That hurt him.
Then you go out and get another old bastard in Matt Ryan, who's going to be here for a fucking year
Yeah,
and
but
leave.
they didn't overpay for Ryan like they did the other one.
It doesn't matter. You're wasting all of these young guys' careers because of your inability to go out and scout a young quarterback and take a chance on him.
You got arguably a very good young receiver here and probably one of the best top 4
I mean,
running
Jesus
backs in the
Christ. You're wasting these guys. Fucking why Matt Ryan? Why Matt Ryan?
league.
Do you want to hear Bruce scream?
No.
You don't?
No.
Because this next one I got feelings.
Not right now. Go ahead.
Scream.
I already know which one it is.
What is it?
Green Bay.
At 19, going 8-9, and I gave them a C+ offseason rating, is the Arizona Cardinals.
Oh, I agree. I agree. They're going to take a huge step back this year.
I think they're the most overrated group there is right now. I just
Speaking
the
of Arizona,
losses that they've had in the offseason
are
will bury them.
Yeah.
they get in-season Hard Knocks.
they do. They did get
yeah.
in-season Hard Knocks today. Let's pull up their schedule real quick. Due to their strength of schedule, I think they're going to take a beating. I'll say that.
I just don't think, losing Chandler Jones is absolutely huge. And their schedule is tough. Their schedule's real tough.
Their schedule is tough.
I mean,
So they got Kansas City at home week 1. They'll lose that. They have to come back week 2 and play the Raiders at the Raiders.
Mm-hmm.
Not good. They have to play the Rams.
Week 3. So
At
really,
least they got the Rams at home. Then they turn around, they play Carolina. That's probably their first
and
win.
then,
Probably their first win of the year.
yep,
Then they have the Philadelphia Eagles coming to town.
I told
Who's
you.
absolutely going to fist bang all of them. And then they go to the Seahawks. I got them winning maybe 2 out of the first 6.
Yep.
That's
Realistically,
crazy,
and that's
dude.
Do you know that's you have to take into account.
Then they got the Saints. They could probably beat the Saints.
They probably
maybe
could.
beat the Saints. Then they got who do they got?
They got the Vikings, Seattle.
They got the Vikings. They got to play the Rams again. They're going to lose that.
Then
they're
the
going to lose
Niners.
to the 49ers.
Niners,
They're gonna lose to
Chargers,
the
Patriots,
Chargers.
Broncos,
Oh my God!
and then they finish with
that's
Tampa.
a freaking gauntlet.
Mhm.
They'll be lucky to.
Do you want to know? I have
They,
it here.
finished with San Francisco.
I had them originally going 7-10, and I gave them an extra game. I think I gave them a win against San Francisco at home,
Okay.
against my better judgment.
Okay.
Against my better
Yeah.
judgment,
They could win 6 games next year.
and
Reasonably win 6 games.
I mean, okay, yes, you'll have the Kyler Murray effect. Yes, I think they.
Stop with the Kyler Murray thing. You know what? That kid can't get his shit together. He's going to be in
You're a
big trouble.
hater.
But that's the other thing. We don't know where he stands.
Right. Mentally, you don't know where he's at right,
Right,
now.
so-
He's in limbo.
And
One
they
week
did.
he
They-
said he's with them. The next week he said he wants out.
They lost Chandler Jones. They lost a lot of pieces on defense. They
Listen,
revamped their
Christian Kirk,
offense.
Chandler Jones.
I mean,
That's 2
huge.
pieces they did not want to lose.
Right, that's huge.
That's very huge, especially with Chandler Jones going to the Raiders, and they
So-
got to play him. Oh, yeah.
So, yeah,
Good
I
luck
have,
with that.
I have
Watch him
Ariz-
sack Kyler Murray 6 times in one game.
I have Arizona at 19.
Okay.
At 18, also going 8-9. I have the Cleveland Browns.
Okay.
I wanted to make them out to be better than they actually are. I wanted to.
Dumpster fire.
Okay, they're not,
Not
a dumpster, fire.
dude.
Dumpster fire.
They
They're
got
not
the
a
best
dumpster
2-headed monster running game in the league.
That's the whole thing. It
right?
realistically
and
doesn't
they got
matter.
arguably top 5 quarterback. The problem is he going to see the field?
Well, it's not even is he going to see the field. It's what is he going to be.
What is he going to be after sitting out a whole year?
Right. It's going to take
Anything
them
would be good
time.
for him.
It's going to take them time.
Right, to gel.
So, I mean, if we're talking about this next year,
No reason why they shouldn't be contending for the title next year.
agree.
No reason.
But yes, you have the best. You have the best
They
two-headed.
re-signed Jadeveon Clowney too.
They did do that.
They did. So that's going to help the defense.
So offseason, I gave them a B+.
Okay.
A lot of people would say, "Oh, you got to give an A to Deshaun Watson." At the end of the day, I'm not going to do that.
Not going to do that till he's going to play.
Correct. And they realistically, I would have liked to have seen them address the receiving issues a little bit better.
Well, I love Amari Cooper. I think he's a consummate pro.
You love that. I don't.
He's a consummate pro. He's that guy.
Yes, but why?
Where when you need a big play, it's him.
Realistically, how big is the upgrade from Amari Cooper from Jarvis Landry?
Oh, I think Amari Cooper is a better receiver than Jarvis Landry. I really do.
Slightly.
Listen to me. It's not Amari Cooper's fault that he was sent to Dallas to play with the most inconsistent quarterback in the fucking league. That's not his fault.
You're not wrong at all.
Sorry?
I said you're not wrong.
I know I'm not wrong. Because Dak Prescott absolutely sucks balls. Balls.
Here we go. Everybody buckle in. Everybody's going to freak out. At 17, I have the New England Patriots going 8-9.
Okay. Okay.
And I'd like you to pull up their schedule. So
you don't have to. We don't need to
We
go.
went to
through
the.
schedule.
They went.
If that's what you believe, that's what
did
you
it.
their off-season rating, I gave them an F, along with the Seattle Seahawks. Those are the two teams that I gave an F to.
Okay.
I don't like what they did in the offseason. I don't think they addressed many issues. Per usual, Bill Belichick played it soft and weird and quiet and took somebody nobody ever heard of in the draft, and they didn't go out and make a splash.
It took two people that nobody's ever heard of. In the draft.
They took somebody that Sean McVay thought he could draft at 96 in the first round. I'm telling you, okay, this is the thing. It rips my heart out to say this because I love Bill Belichick. You know what? He's like an uncle to me. I love him. I have so many great memories with him, right? But it's like when your uncle starts spending way too much time at the titty bar and just drinking bourbon every night, and you never know where he's at. That's where Bill Belichick is right now.
They start eating methadone.
Exactly. So that's where I'm at with him because it's time, Bill. It's time to step in to the new age or get out. Because I'm telling you, this year, you're going to get left behind.
What I would like to see Bill do? I don't know if he still wants to even do this anymore. If they don't make the playoffs this year and they're unsuccessful, if I was him, I would look at maybe doing just a general manager position
and bring in
and get some young guy in there.
Yes.
And let the young guy coach him.
Yes, even if Bill steps back and is the GM or the president of football operations or whatever, you're still going to have influence over that person.
He's an older guy,
If that's
too,
the case, he's
going
going to have his son be the head coach.
He doesn't get to make that call.
I'm sorry?
If he becomes the GM.
He still doesn't get to make that call.
He is the GM.
He is the GM right now.
Well,
He's been the GM for years.
Either way, that's neither here nor there.
Yeah.
His son's never going to head coach a team, period. He's a fucking weirdo. Have you ever seen him? But at the end of the day.
He's not as weird. He's not as weird as Mark Davis.
Anyways, I think New England's an 8-9 team.
Okay.
They have their schedule is not friendly for starters. Secondly, their roster didn't improve that much from last year. And third, the rest of the NFL got better.
Right.
And they didn't.
Right.
And I think
the teams in their division actually got better.
Correct.
The
we're
Jets
getting
got
there.
better. Miami got better.
If you notice,
I think they're better than the Dolphins.
If you notice, I have not yet said any other AFC East team.
Correct.
So right now
I can't believe you have them behind the Jets.
Well,
I just can't fathom.
You want to know what's funny enough?
I'm
Next
sorry.
up, I have at number 16 the Miami Dolphins.
Okay.
And I have them with the one game advantage over the Patriots, going 9-8, and I give them an A- for their offseason.
Okay.
Okay. I thought about this. What we've seen out of Tua so far is Tua with Devontae Parker as his best weapon.
And Gesicki.
And Gesicki. Gesicki's still there.
Yeah.
Jalen Waddle's there.
Yes.
Miles Gaskin's there.
Yes.
They got more. They took more running backs.
Jalen Waddle's issues solved?
Yes.
Okay.
We're good there. Then you add Tyreek Hill. Then you add, I don't know if you've dug into their new head coach at all. I believe his name's Mike McDaniel. the new Dolphins head coach.
Okay.
He's extremely he came from San Francisco,
Okay.
and he essentially was one of the guys who pushed Deebo Samuel to make the move into the little sexy position.
Okay.
I think that their offense could be something really interesting.
I thought it was actually
They-
Shanahan's the one that was pushing Samuel into that.
Well, let's not forget either. The Dolphins won 8 straight games, or 8 or 9 straight games to end the year last year. So why don't we think that they're going to be any good? Why?
Oh, I think
Tua's gonna be healthy.
I don't think they're going to be bad.
Tua's going to be healthy. They got much better offensively. Much.
Yes.
They trimmed some of the fat. I really think Miami could. I think they're going to be better than New England. I think they are. And
I thought they underachieved last year.
they did. They did.
They did.
Think about it. If they would have just won 2 games, just out of the first, they went what? I think they went 0-7 and then won 9 straight.
Right.
Or
0-6.
yeah, whatever it was. If they would have won 1 or 2 of those, they would have been competing for a playoff spot. And then they went out and got better. And now I'm really going to shock the world because at 15, I have the Jets at 9-8 as well.
I don't. Yeah. Their
At 9-8.
schedule's favorable.
Their schedule's favorable.
They arguably got the best corner in the draft.
Thank you.
Period.
They arguably got the best defensive players in the draft. 2 of them. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Tipped Balls Podcast. Make sure to follow our socials. Instagram at TipBalls, Twitter at TipBalls, TikTok at TipBalls Podcast. Make sure you listen next week. We're going to continue our power rankings and give you number 14 all the way up to number 1, as well as our coaching Scumbag Hall of Fame. You won't want to miss it. It's the conclusion of this episode. Make sure to listen to part 2 next week. Thank you so much for listening as always.